This is a cool table.
Thanks, dude.
This whole room's really cool.
I got it. He's.
You gotta get real close.
Bonus to the headphones.
Yeah.
It's just stay about like a fist away. Okay. And I do an audio feed and a video feed both, so I'll do some post editing. I've been tweaking my post editing on the audio feed a little bit each time. Let me start a new track here for the audio. Yeah, dude. See, podcast. Do you guys do YouTube at the gym or anything?
Kinda, not really. So a lot of it just goes on the Instagram account.
Yeah, we need to do more Instagram, dude. We were just talking about that today. We do some. Like, I made a post like the last few weeks, but like, how old are you?
22.
Yeah, dude. I'm just like old as shit on Facebook over here.
You're like 27, aren't you?
32.
For real?
According to my college students, like they're like, dude, you're on Facebook? What?
I use Facebook to get into like tournaments and like talk to promoters and stuff like that. But that's about all I do. I like the memes too.
Facebook has some dank memes. I was sharing some. I was like, oh wait, I need to plug in mine. I was sharing some dank Columbus memes.
I love Columbus memes. They're so funny.
Yes.
There was one that was like, in 1492, the Native Americans discovered Columbus lost at sea.
Yeah. I didn't see that one. I saw, the one, I didn't steal this meme. I just discovered it. That's a good one. And then, man, I can't even remember what they said. Like what I did is I saved up a whole bunch of Columbus memes.
For like an army of Columbus memes.
Yeah, and then I was like, here are some tame yet dank Columbus memes. Okay. Bam, and try this again. All right, much better. All right. Life Unraveled. That's the name of the show. Impromptu podcast with Braden Anthony.
Glad to be here. Thanks.
You kind of have two first names.
I have three. My middle name is Reese.
All right. There's just a dude got promoted to black belt named Reese.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, so you were passing. You went to our team camp.
Mm-hmm.
We'll just probably talk about jiu-jitsu this whole time and conspiracies, which seem to go hand in hand.
Yeah, I like conspiracies.
We're talking about dank memes. So you just got back from the black belt camp. I actually sequestered you to steal a private lesson from you. I'm still gonna,
Well, I appreciate it.
But hey, I wanted to work with you, man. So I appreciate you making the time to do the podcast and some jiu-jitsu. So, but dude, so like Josh Bishop and I were talking yesterday. He's one of the guys that got promoted.
Yeah, that guy was super nice. He invited me to his house, like cooked me dinner.
He's a great guy.
He was awesome.
And he's Jewish, which adds it's bonus points for me. It gives us more cool shit to talk about.
They're like superheroes.
I mean, like when people say the Bible, I'm like, you mean the Old Testament?
Hey, don't say that around modern Christians, man.
I know, dude. I know. I raised Christian. It's funny. The dude I played in the church band with, when I went to church for like 19 years, now does jiu-jitsu with me, and we jam whenever we can. He's got a couple kids now, but he comes to classes and we play periodically, and it's awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah. But Josh Bishop and I were talking, and I was like, because I was like, yeah, dude, he's trying to Alan Jade and blah, blah, blah. He's like, you know who Alan Jade is? He's like, no. And I was like,
he's a wizard.
Well, he's good. Maybe you can hear all about it on the podcast. But so what, you started off training with Alan? Is that the first place you trained?
Yeah. So I started with Alan when I was like 17. And so I started jiu-jitsu like 6 months after my 17th birthday. And Alan was my first place, but I started training with him and a guy named Buddy Hooker at the same time.
Okay, yeah. What's Buddy up to these days? I haven't seen or heard.
He's a black belt dad, man.
He got married. Yes, I knew that. And he had a kid, apparently.
Got married and has a kid, and he just takes care of his daughter. She's awesome. Like Buddy, Laura, Addie, all of them. They're like super good.
Does he still train at all? I mean, just come and teach, anything like that?
No, I mean, he'll come in like once every like 6 months just to be like, hey, what's up? But yeah, it kind of sucks. He's kind of like one of my jiu-jitsu dads.
Is that going to happen to us when we have kids, dude?
I hope not.
Corey and I were talking about having kids today a lot. And I was just like, because, that is like the biggest thing is trying to figure out how to implement that and maintain everything else.
Yeah, and like I think Eric does it really well, but Eric has a lot of support.
Aren't they having a second kid?
Yeah.
Wow.
So Hannah's pregnant right now, and they have Charlie, and Charlie just turned 1 year old, and it's just like, man, he balances it so well though. Like he still comes in every day at 5:30.
Look at his gray hair, dude. Okay, we're not buying it.
Ooh.
I'm just kidding.
Hey.
Don't beat me up,
Hey.
Eric. He's so good, dude.
Brian said it, not me, Eric.
Well, I would say, dude, Eric is your coach now, right?
Yeah, Eric's
So,
awesome, man.
We'll talk more about Alan in a second, but those are two really good guys to be around.
Yeah, and so like when Alan was moving to Las Vegas, I was kind of in like a dilemma because like the gym I was at was like it's mainly a Krav Maga school, and so like I needed to focus on jiu-jitsu, and like at that gym like they just didn't compete a lot, and all I wanted to do was compete because like
Yeah.
I love competing, I love getting in there.
Did you have BJJFs?
I haven't, but I'm doing Nogi Worlds in December.
Oh, that'd be a good one for you.
Yeah, because like the only thing I've ever really done are like sub-only tournaments.
Super fights.
Yeah, I've done a ton of super fights.
Yeah, dude, and that's another reason I just want to sit down with you because like I haven't been to any of your super fights as of yet, but the videos I've seen, it's just like fast leg lock finish.
I mean,
the two of them I've seen anyway.
I just get in there and do my thing.
Yeah.
I have great teammates and a great coach that, I mean, they push me, they make me better, and I get in there and I just do it.
Do you so would you consider yourself like a quote unquote leg locker? Like, is that your game? Like, is that your bag? Like, what?
I think it's funny because like everybody talks about my footlocks. Like everybody's like, oh my god, like Braden's footlocks are like so good. Yada yada.
They are good.
Yeah, and I mean, like I think they're okay, but like I think what people don't realize is like whenever I take people's back, I think my back control is significantly better than my leg locks. And like nobody really like notices because nobody gets past my footlocks, right?
Yeah.
So like in tournaments, like in the past 2 years, every finish I've had has been an inside heel hook, except for 2, and one of them was an outside heel hook, and the other one was an arm bar. So it's just like I don't ever get the opportunity.
Inside heel hooks, I love. Corbs just asked me today. There's this brown belt. He was the last guy on the podcast, actually, Jeff Woods. But he's a professor and stuff. He's like 49, but he's like my longest running student. Cora cannot submit him. She's pissed about it. And she's never submitted him. And she's like, what am I gonna get him with? I was like, I would just focus on inside heel hook. Like that is like significantly, for whatever reason, I've tightened up my outside heel hook a lot over the years.
Yeah.
Just recently, honestly, I saw this video of Robert Drysdale explaining the mechanics, and I was like, well, that's stupid. That's the simplest way. Because he is just like, oh yeah, your hands go this way, but your legs go that way. And I was just like, oh man, I've been too focused on my hand work and like my body and my torso moving and stuff. And I was just like, I need to add a little, and it makes sense because of the spiraling action.
Yeah, you just turn it.
It made sense in a bigger context of like, oh, that's why people have been saying it's just like the shoulder locker or what have you.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's so back takes.
Yeah.
Statistically, you just hit those transitions a lot. You hit them from everywhere. Is that something you systematically study?
I mean, so like my IBJJF game right now, because I had to change a lot of my game to fit IBJJF rule sets because like heel hooks aren't a thing, and like I guess like so Eric works with me and he's like, hey, your leg locks are still a thing. He's like, just look at them as positional to get into passing, and so like that helps me a lot.
Leg drag, coming up into leg drag is big for me off of failed leg lock.
So a lot of the times only when I go against people that are like really competent in footlocks, which a lot of people that say they are really aren't. And,
True.
So
dude,
like,
I will say, like, I tell people about you because you like it's funny when I went to that Memphis camp, not this last time, but the time before that.
Camp?
Yeah. Like I rolled with, which I was teaching at the camp.
Yeah.
I rolled with like Josh Bishop, then you, and I was just like, what the fuck, man? Like these dudes are savages. I was telling Josh Bishop, I was like, dude, I got in the car and just like drove here with you guys, and then like you and this dude beat the shit out of me. But I remember you caught me with some footlocks, and I just was remarking because like I think you're still a purple belt. Is that correct?
yeah, I've been a purple belt for about 2 years.
Okay, so At that time, I think I had just gotten my black belt.
You did.
But I had been only studying leg locks. Is like for the longest time I was dogmatic about it. I was like,
Yeah.
we can't do heel hooks, guys. They're against the rules.
They're dangerous.
Yes. And then over time, like I don't know, I got called on it a couple of times, like, and I started just being around people and seeing the success of people like James Partridge
James Partridge is good.
Dude, we had him in for a seminar. George Valladares actually is one of the first people that turned my head when he was a blue belt, because he submitted like 12 black belts in a year or something, or 18 or something insane. And some of them I knew, and I was just like, and I remember at one of the Arkansas AGS, he came out there and just decimated everybody in under a minute with all leg lock finishes, and was just like, no, I don't need a break.
Yeah, just keep
Bring him
going.
back. Then like got back in his car and drove to Texas. I was just like, dude, you're freaking me out.
So do you know who Hunter Colvin is?
Oh yeah,
He trains with James Partridge.
dude.
That guy's a beast.
Have you rolled with him?
No, but I want to.
Yeah, dude. I saw a picture of him the other day because you guys look kind of similar, I guess, in like stature and haircut and shit. But I was like, oh, dude, I wonder if those two dudes have ever trained together. Because I thought when he turned pro in MMA, I was like, ooh, man, I'm worried for you.
He's a killer.
But he's
in MMA
killing
too.
everybody.
Dude, he's killing
a killer.
everyone.
Oh, dude, he said the other day, he's like something about him being the not wanting to be the underdog or something. I was like, dude, you got my respect, man. Because what is he had 2 or 3 pro MMA fights?
I think he's had 2.
But man, he just
He just worked people, man.
he works them, and one of them, his control. He like got the dude's back. It's like, and his striking's not atrocious. It's not horrible.
He's really good at striking to get to takedowns, which is what he needs to do, right? He's a really high level jiu-jitsu practitioner, so he needs to take it to the ground and just like choke people.
Agreed. Did you watch the Cron Gracie fight the other night?
I watched parts of it, so I
just watched highlights.
I was exhausted from traveling, and Joseph was watching it because Joseph was with me.
Yeah, I wondered if he stayed in town too, but he went back with Eric and everybody.
Yeah, he went back with Eric. He's the only full-time employee at the gym, so he's got stuff he's got to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, like, I don't know. I was really wanting Crone to win so they could be Crone versus Ryan Hall, but I really think Ryan Hall would beat the crap out of Crone.
Really?
Yeah.
Have you trained with Ryan Hall?
No, so this past weekend I worked with Justin Rader for like 45 minutes because like he was like, dude, your 50-50 is like legit, and he's like, you really need to train with Ryan and stuff like this, and like, so he was like, yeah, dude, Ryan's like, he's the man. He was like, he just understands jiu-jitsu on a different level, and I was like, yeah, man, I'd really like to, but like I think in that fight, like everybody disrespects Ryan Hall's striking. Ryan Hall's striking is awesome.
It's good, dude. He uses that little lead leg pickup kick.
Yeah.
Well, I love that kick.
And that hook kick, dude, he'll take your face off. Dude,
that BJ fight, like I mentioned that last night. Pepperman's mail must be here, dude. He's very upset. I don't know if the people on the podcast can hear him. So at the new studio, there won't be dogs barking because it's going to be at the new gym. Dude, I got a whole space.
You got a whole area?
Partitioned off. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Take everything out of here, everything out of my music room, just then we would
make a little home.
Yeah, then we would just do that over and be like, all right, let's go train. Bam. So sorry to cut you off due to Pepperman's barking.
No, I'm not. I'm not too stressed. It's dogs.
Yeah, dude, you said you had 3 bloodhounds?
I have 3 bloodhounds, man.
What's their names?
I have Blue, Justice, and Maddie, and then I have a miniature schnauzer named Penelope.
A schnauzer. What's a schnauzer look like? How do you spell that?
SCHNAUZER. They're like little small terrier things.
Okay. Is that your idea? Oh, but it's Lady and the Tramp dog, dude. Jacques. You ever seen that movie?
I have.
Does he look like that?
She's like more white than that. She looks like identical.
Oh, puppy. Dude, I saw this funny meme the other day. It's like when my mom, like, or my mom's asking for grandkids, and it's like a picture of like a baby in a belly, like a, what do they call that?
Fetus?
Sonogram or something. Whatever it's called, whatever they do, I don't know. But it was like a dog peeking.
Yeah,
it's super funny. Anyway, well, so back Alan trained with Roy Dean. Did you get to train with him very much over the years?
I trained with Roy Dean one time when I was a white belt, and he just beat me up.
Really?
Yeah.
How he's got to be older now. Like I remember watching his videos, which I'm not saying he's not legit because he's older.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure he's
super good.
Equally. But he started studying a lot softer arts in his older.
Yeah,
as he's gotten older, has he not? Like more Aikido, more yoga.
So he was doing a lot of Aikido. He was an Aikido black belt when I had met him to meet Jiu-Jitsu, and I think he got his Aikido black belt before he got his Jiu-Jitsu black belt. Now, like, don't quote me, but like I think that's how it was because I think he did Judo and Aikido before.
Interesting.
And then he got into Jiu-Jitsu. Now he's like, I think he's a 3rd degree or a 4th degree black belt, and yeah, I don't know. Like he has a lot of like Aikido influence in his Jiu-Jitsu. Like a lot of his takedowns are like Judo Aikido-y. And like
I've tried to do the same thing, honestly.
He's legit, man.
That guy I was telling you about that's been coming in, Roland Chang is his name, Dr. Roland Chang. Dude blows my mind. Like he's 3rd degree in Aikido, he's 6th degree in Judo.
He's a tank.
He trained Wing Chun his whole life. Like he's taught me this Ip Man form that's like 13 sections, and like one side of one of the sections is like, I don't know, a dozen moves. But it's on just the wooden dummy I have there.
Yeah.
Caleb's dad is who carved that for me.
Dean.
But yeah, Mr. Dean, did you meet him?
No, I've just heard so much about him. Caleb was telling me about him when I was there. He's like, man, he's like a superhero.
He's a great dude.
He's like a Green Beret and all kinds of crazy stuff.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, the tree. So Brandon Motley is one of my guys. A tree fell on his house, and then Dean used that tree to carve my Wing Chun dummy. But this Roland Chang guy coming in. Outside of all that, he knows Aikido. He knows Kendo.
Kendo's cool.
Yeah, and then like the weapons of Wing Chun. So it's like there's these different weapons in Wing
like
Chun.
scythe things.
Well, I forget what they're called. Do they? I mean, something Dao.
I'm so ignorant.
But they're not like the flip open butterfly knives, but some people call them butterfly knives. All right, but I've got 2 sets of them now. But then Aikido has a Jo staff. Then Wing Chun and Kung Fu, they have a staff that's similar to like the Jo staff. Aikido also has, so this dude's been teaching me sick sword and knife work. And then he's like, it's like, he'll be in the gym tonight, but he'll be like, all right, he does my class, by the way, wears a white belt, comes in, and then like before class, I'm like, we have like a little open period of time for like 30 minutes on that mat. It's like everybody's kind of getting and warming up, and he and I are working, then we do my class and people start rolling right now, and he and I go over and he just like schools me, like teaches me everything. And I'm like, and then the other day he's like, oh dude, I know Taekwondo. He's like,
why not one more?
He's like, dude, check this out. I mean, he didn't say it like that, but he's like, all right, check out these Taekwondo katas. And he did the first form, which like Chonji or something. I don't know any of the katas like in sequential order or anything. Then he's like, hey, give me both those swords. Then he did the kata with both swords. And he did all 9 of like the white through black belt katas for Taekwondo, and I'm like, nuts. Dude, you're blowing my mind. And he's like, yeah, it's that hip replacement tomorrow. Yeah, that's what we're doing. Just do surgery all the time. You know, I'm just like, whoa, dude. He does like about like 1 surgery a day.
Yeah.
I think he's getting later in his career to where he's not. He just said he deliberately practices. That's what they call it.
I mean, like orthopedic surgery is intense. You have to be in really good physical shape. Like I had my labrum repaired, and my orthopedic surgeon walked in like a wife beater, and I was like, holy crap, you're enormous.
Dude, tell me about your labrum tear.
So going back to Alan Shade, this bad boy Alan Shade tore my labrum. No, not really. So like I was like 3 months into jiu-jitsu or something, and he had me in an Americana, and I didn't really know how to get out, and so I just tried to roll out, and it just kind of tore. It's not anything super special, but I give Alan a hard time about it.
Dude, I've been seeing an upper cervical specialist, and I will say it's made a difference. Like I don't have any pain when I look to the side anymore, which is huge. Like it's so weird to look. This guy I've been seeing in Morrilton where I teach at, he puts you down on this machine, and he like puts this little thing on your neck, dude. Boom. And it pushes in very lightly, but then it like retracts out, and like you don't feel the punch really. You just feel it let go. but it like pushes your C2 back in. And his theory on that is it's like the C1 is called the atlas.
Yeah.
And it's like lines everything back up. But man, my shoulder, like I've had some serious subluxation in it, and like I've wondered several times if I haven't torn my labrum.
Yeah, so
But
I mean,
I'm not trying to self-diagnose or asking a doctor about it.
I mean, like, I don't know if they can see me or not, but like, if you look, like, I have so much more flexibility in my left arm. Like, you see how yours go way out? Like, this one just stops.
Like where it's bothering me the most is when I like, and then I was asking Roland Jang about this. I'm like, hey, dude, do you think I've got torn my rotator cuff? And he's like, no. He like had me do this, and he's like, no way.
Yeah.
But like when I get up over here, like that's pain, and then it makes this popping sound. I don't know what's going on.
So, like, when I tore mine, like, pretty much any of, like, this motion and this motion, I just could not do. It was just extremely painful. And my shoulders are super sore right now because Mike Page Kimured me like 53 times.
He said that you guys, Mike and I went floating over the weekend.
Yeah.
Dude, Mike is so good, bro.
He's
like,
cool.
He's cool, dude. Taught me so much. Like one of my best friends of all time, for sure.
We had a really cool, like, little, like, hour private thing. And, like, we ended up playing pretty much the exact same game from, like, Kimura traps.
Yeah.
And he was like, this is crazy. I was like, you're telling me, man.
He does. He's got so many nook and cranny micro details on the Kimura that they make, they're huge difference makers because it's like piece here, from bottom, from top. And he's always showing me something new.
He just gets it, man.
He does.
I think some people just, like, get it.
He's creative, man. He's creative like that. Some people have a creative knack. That's why I've always wanted to train more with Alan.
Yeah.
Because I think Alan and I have a similar approach. And I'm always systematizing my jiu-jitsu. Like, I saw his DVD collection, and I was like,
He is all about it. So, like, from day one, me training with him, this is before, like, all the, like, crazy Danaher stuff came out, and he was like, systemize everything. Alan was always talking about everything has to be in a chain. And so, like, from day one of me training, he's like, chain everything. He's like, you should never just have one attack. He's like, just chain everything. And, like, I still do it.
That's such a good strategy. Like, I think about that, like what we were talking about with traditional martial arts katas.
Yeah.
I think about this, like, why did they start doing it this way? That's really what I think about. It's like, okay, well, they were trying to get a bunch of work in. Like, they wanted to work on all these moves, so they came up with this. And also, like, a lot of katas where they can do a bunch of, like, big classes, a bunch of people at once. But, like, right now, I've been doing this stuff I learned a long time ago from Ops and Mora we call it arm ride.
Yeah.
But let's say you shoot, like, a knee slide pass, go into the arm ride, windshield wiper your feet, and then I've been just saying where you step over the head, switch back, and it's like, man, there's like 10 submissions from the whole series, and it's in like half a dozen transitions at least. It ends up going into like triangle armbar omoplata and all that.
Just sets you into a lot.
Yeah, and it's like, man, it's like that when I've been explaining that to people, it's like a metaphor. I'm like, this is like a kata. Like, this is I know it's a lot, but we're going to do this first little part of it so much. Like, we'll get into the first part differently. We'll do different moves from this, once we do the transition, but that knee slide part, because, man, it allows you to work guard pass, allows you to work some side control, a variation of side control, and tons of attacks.
Yeah.
So
I think drilling is, like, so important, and a lot of people neglect it. But I also think that there's, like, effective ways to drill and there's ineffective ways to drill. So, like, whenever I want to learn something, I'm like, so, like, what I did at white belt is I found that I like triangles a lot. And so all I did was triangle from everywhere. And I got really good at triangles. And then I was like, all right.
Did you get bored?
No, I was just like, all right, I think I'm effective at triangles. So I switched to something else.
You moved on.
And that's when I got into Kimura traps. And then, like, midway through blue belt, I started getting into, like, footlocks. And then now that's just been my thing. But then once I got out of footlocks, I got into back of stuff, like back attacks. And then right now, I'm working a lot of, like, head and arm chokes, like anacondas, and stuff like that. So,
yeah,
I don't know. I just, like, I do jiu-jitsu all day, every day. Like, I'll hang out with my girlfriend and I'll be sitting there watching jiu-jitsu or wrestling matches, and she's like, hey, I'm like here. And I'm like, yeah, sorry.
Well, to what, like, so what are you thinking you're going to do with jiu-jitsu? You said you're training like 35 hours a week.
Something like that. So,
and you're going to school, you're going to college.
Yeah.
What you think you just want to ride the competition train? You trying to get a big person job someday? You want to be a martial arts academy owner? Like what?
So I don't know. The more that I talk to people that own gyms, the less I actually want to own a gym. And I think it'd be very rewarding and stuff like that. But I don't think that I have the level of like dedication for me to provide enough of a service to my students to make it like equal amounts of respect. Because like I know that I'm selfish in my competition. Like I always want to compete. I always want to be out there doing things. And I know if I own a gym, I'm not going to be able to be there training people.
That was hard, dude.
Yeah.
Like when I was competing all the time, because I was competing
you competed
all
like
over.
30 something times as a purple belt.
Yeah, dude. Man.
That was a lot.
Yeah. I definitely got my fill of it. And it was valuable, but that was one of the bigger reasons is I was just like, dude, I'm gone all the time. Like that's another bigger reason was just like, yeah, no, hey Braden, can you stop at my gym, dude? Hey Josh Bishop, you want to come do a podcast and teach me some shit later on too?
Yeah.
That's the game plan I'm on right now. Because for a decade, I traveled nonstop, man. I've been to 10 of those black belt conferences, you know, and I'm not talking down on them or anything.
It's just a lot.
It is a lot. And dude, we have a massively successful program, and I feel like I can bring a lot of stuff in and just go to stuff I want to go to and reap all the same benefits. But
if you have the access to like just have people come in and just learn from them, and then you just repeat it, like what I don't like is like a lot of times people teach privates and they're like, hey, you can't share this information with anyone, and it's like, why? Like nobody gains from that. Like so if I do I did a private with a guy named Josh LeDuc, and he's Starlord BJJ on Instagram. That guy's helped me tremendously with my footlock game. That guy is awesome, understands leg locks, is awesome resource. And he like, I did my private, I recorded everything, and like 2 weeks later, I was like, hey, is it cool if I share this with some of my teammates and stuff like that? He's like, yeah, dude, show whoever you want.
Dude, I have 500 videos on the internet.
Yeah.
Like, it's literally like I'm just wholesaling it. I'm like all that stuff I was telling you we've been working on the arm rod.
Yeah.
There's a playlist for it on our YouTube. Like when people, because like I got new students right now, and it's like we've been working this arm rod for like 2 months, and I'm just like, hey, dude, I have this playlist over here. Boom, you can watch like these. It's only got 7 videos in there right now. But we're gonna record like 5 or 6 more. Just stuff we've been going over. So it's like that's for you.
If you forget it, guess what? You go find it,
dude. And what's crazy is like right here on the Mac. I've been rewatching a bunch of the old Hobson shit. That it's just like, man, I was doing that stuff when I was a blue belt.
Yeah.
You know, and
it still works.
It still works, and two, it's just like to revisit it. And then that Jeff Woods guy I was telling you about yesterday, we revisited something, and he did something. I was like, dude, that's that other thing, like boom, right here from Neon Belly, and he was just like, oh yeah, I remember that. It's not. It's like nostalgic, you know. Like when you get like you look back on those things. I try to always. It was good competing because I can empathize with competitors. I think.
Yeah.
And I try to always empathize with white belts.
Yeah, because like I think a common thing that a lot of instructors get wrong is they assume that people understand at the level that they do. And it's like, you've been doing this for so long. Like if somebody teaches you something, you'll learn it very fast because you understand jiu-jitsu. When you start brand new, you don't know what the hell's going on. You're like, why am I grabbing this arm? And so you have to give them those like super like basic details that you're like, oh, like everybody would understand this. And it's like, no, they don't.
Where do you think that perception comes from? Like what you're saying, like this LeDuc guy or whatever, he's like, oh yeah, dude, go ahead and make a video on it, teach the people on your team, like introduce it into the consciousness of your gym or whatever. Like, but where does the opposite come from? Because like I've never understood, like no one's ever laid out an argument for me where I'm like, yeah, that's rational.
Well, I mean, like I look at like the Danaher dudes and like I respect them, they're really good, but I think like Gary's a super cool dude, and like I think Gordon is a genuinely nice guy. I think he just has a really good internet persona.
He does, like, man.
If you look at them like coming up, whenever they were just like breaking into competitions, like the first couple EBIs and stuff like that, when they were just like leg locking the shit out of people, they were like, yeah, we're not teaching anybody anything, because they had this like revolutionary thing. It's like the Mendez brothers with Baron Bolos. Like the Mendez brothers came out with Baron Bolos and murdered people, and so it's like, if you have that revolutionary thing, you kind of want to keep it. But right now, like, I don't think there's a revolutionary thing. Because, like, if you look at the shift for submission grappling, everybody's just wrestling right now. Literally everyone. If you're not wrestling and you're in submission grappling, you're just going to get wrecked.
Yeah. That's like somebody was asked, so what do you think about this? I got these two guys from Dubois at the gym. They're great. I really like them. But and they've trained like that's like pretty much like what we do is their PE in Dubois. Like Flavio came on the podcast and was talking about that because he's like one of the PE teachers or whatever. And they're like, hey, you know, like, well, we have a wrestling class. And I was like, dudes, we just had to cancel judo because nobody came. I was like, and they said that because we were doing, John taught like a whizzer, 2 whizzer takedowns, like hitting the overhook to a front headlock and then a anaconda roll.
Yeah.
And like a fireman's, hitting the whizzer to a fireman's.
So like super simple wrestling entry.
Yeah, and they were like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
Dude, we need a wrestling class. I was like, dudes, we're wrestling right now. Last time you were here, we wrestled. Next time you come in, we're going to be wrestling. Yeah. Like, I was like, we wrestle every time, man.
That's awesome.
You know, so that's another thing. Like, I've just been, over the years, this funny, I kind of in a way hoped that it wouldn't come up to avoid a confrontation or whatever. But the student that used to train with me moved off, joined the military for like 4 years, came back, is going to school here again. And I remember like at my first location, so it'd been 2012 or 13, he leg locked this new white belt in the gi and like injured his knee. That student quit, stopped paying, never came back.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck. Because like we just opened and I'm just like, oh, there's, you know,
that's like a business thing.
There's the utilities to this month that's going out. So I was pissed but at the time we didn't do leg locks, and it's like situations like that and seeing people's successes and all these other things. I was like, we got to start doing leg locks.
Yeah.
We got to start doing all submissions in class. And now we do all submissions, either gi or no gi, but this guy's back. And last night I got this guy that's like you, but way smaller. Mm-hmm. His name's Jacob. He's going to compete in the AGF. He's competed a lot and kills it. He went and competed at Brandon McCatherin's
River City.
Well, he's in Decatur, Alabama.
Yeah, it's the River City Pro. That's the name of the in-house tournament.
I can't remember what it's called, honestly. I didn't go coach him. One of our other coaches did. Do you like my Harry Potter Spider?
No, I was looking at it.
Harry Gold. Yeah, I love Harry Potter. But this guy is... he's just a phenom, and they were rolling, and it was him, and it was a new guy. We've had a couple of wrestlers come in, and I'm just like, you guys have wrestled? That's awesome.
Yeah.
Like this one guy came in and wrestled, and you could tell he had wrestled. He singled somebody, and they put their hand on the mat, and he foot slipped their hand. And I was like, I would have done the same thing there, bro. Like, I was like, that's, you know, have you seen jiu-jitsu guys do that with the technical stand-up?
Yeah.
Like stand up from X-guard. And I love that. Or sweep the other foot if they keep the other foot on.
Yeah, go far side.
But the guy from before, from like 2012, 2013, was like, no leg. And I was like, dude, sorry about before. I was like, we do all subs now. I was just like, dude,
welcome to the Wild West.
Just like we do wrestling over here, and we start from standing. But that's like starting from standing about every class. 20% of the time I don't. That was a big shift. All subs, even in the gi.
Yeah.
I was just like, if we're gonna do it and be controversial, let's be the most controversial. I don't know,
man. I think I understand the heel hooks in the gi because the friction is just like so extreme.
You know, I've heard people say that, but I don't notice any of that. I've been doing heel hooks in the gi for 2 years now.
Yeah. I think so. Where I think a lot of people get leg locks wrong is positional control. And like when you have positional control, even in no gi, you're already putting a whole lot of strain on people's knee, even before you're doing anything. True. And so if you multiply that with the friction of gis, that's the only rule that I kind of understand in IBJJF. Now, if it's if it's IBJJF no-gi, yeah, make them legal. Because like reaping, what the hell is reaping? Nothing. Like reaping isn't anything. Well,
and it blurs, dude. So like maybe you can clarify some things on this either now or later. But like Corey and I were talking about this today. Just imagine you. Like the saddle, like where you're sitting looking at the knee bar, not where you're sitting looking at them and inside heel hooking, but like you're sitting right there. Like that, as I understand it, is legal, but if I turn the other way, it's illegal.
So the way it works is there's a free foot clause. So if I have you in saddle / 411, whatever you want to call it, there's like 50 names for the same position. So if I have you in that and I overhook your leg, that's reaping because that is intent to attack the same side foot. If I underhook it, that's not intent to attack the same side foot because it's technically a knee bar grip, so it's technically legal. But I can also attack the far side leg. So I can attack the far side leg as much as I want. Like I can do whatever I want to that leg.
Cloverleaf.
Yeah, and like I don't think the cloverleaf works. I'll show you something really cool.
You show turning the toes.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll come up with a modification after you show me that. See if it works.
Cool. There's also like a counter to that one. Too.
Damn it! Damn it!
I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Well, I started going up on their heel and like
pulling it.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I did. I started using that like crazy. You were the person that told me about that.
Was I?
Forgot. Yeah. You did just to turn the toes up. You told me about that at Memphis camp.
Yeah, turn the toes, and it's like it just puts meat on bone, and it just doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, I don't think I'm a firm believer that like there's only like 1 or 2 calf crushes that actually do damage. Like the ones where people like sit in and have their forearm inside, just try and pull it and stuff like that. I'm like, man, if you tap the pain and you're a competitor, you're already losing.
That one, I don't know about any of the ones Raider showed, but there's one I do from bottom where my shin's in, where they're like, oh, it's sad to have like single butterfly and they have one knee up, and I shoot the leg through. And I do a bicep crusher that way too, but dude, it's brutal.
I'll show you I call it the 100%er. It's a freaking nasty calf slicer. And have you seen Eddie Bravo versus Hoyler Gracie?
Oh yeah.
He does that.
The first or second one?
The first one. No, the second one. The one where he gets him into like vaporizer.
Many times. It's so good. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's kind of similar to that one, but it's a really good counter to when people are hiding their heel really well and 411. So.
Yeah. So did you just get inspired by doing leg locks with Alan early on, and it was always a part of your game? Because I don't know why, but it was like leg locks and takedowns non-existent for me. And then like I figured out I like it like around blue belt.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, dude, I start doing takedowns. Mm-hmm. Because here's the thing, like Caleb and them, they all moved. Like first we didn't have a gi program for like a year and a half of training. Then they moved to Northwest Arkansas. Eventually the Clarksville gym closed down, and I started splitting around with these karate people up here and running like just basically like a sister sort of program out of there for 2 years. And that's when I was like, dude, we got to start doing judo. We got to start adding stuff in so eventually we can get to where we are now. And boom, with takedowns. It's like we're doing wrestling over here. We're doing throws over here, counter and guard pull, pulling guard, whatever it is. We're starting for standing and having a very varied and diverse approach. And then eventually, but for whatever reason, it was like 2-3 years after that when I was like, oh, we do this with leg locks. And now I'm just like, I just try not to be dogmatic. I never, and then too, like, because it pisses me off that people won't share their information. I'm just like, everything's for free on the internet. Like,
literally.
Like every Sunday, no matter pretty much what, I film for the YouTube, and 5-6 videos, usually the stuff we taught in class that week. And people appreciate it all the time. I tell you, that Roland Chain guy, the orthopedic surgeon master,
yeah,
he's just like, oh, these videos are great, dude. I was just like,
it's free
thanks,
resources, man.
Thanks. I was like, let's talk about these wrist locks over here, please. Did you do wrist locks with Danny Dring at the
camp? Yeah, he taught him, but like by the time Danny got around to teaching, like I was just brain dead.
Yeah,
because like there's a point in which like there's so much jiu-jitsu that your brain's just like, dude, there's so much going on.
What point do you think that is? So we've had a lot of conversation about that.
Dude, after the first 2 seminars, like I was just toast.
I kind of agree. I kind of think that I like the breakout session idea.
I really like those too, because I got to work. So I got Matt Blank first, and the whole time Matt Blank was like, "Hey, Q&A us whatever you want." So I was like, "Dude, this is my game. Here's the really common entries I do. What would you do?" And like just being able to break that down and have people be like, "Oh yeah, like so this is what I'm thinking about. This is what I do." It helps me understand like, "Oh, okay, so how can I counter all of these?" And then I got with Justin, and that's when we had our like 45-minute 50-50 thing, and that was awesome because he said that he has this one like super strong break, and he was like, dude, I just cannot get past it. And I think 50-50 is one of my best positions because I have super long legs and my legs are really strong, and a lot of times, like, it's really hard to break my knees apart to attack, and like I'm really good at keeping my foot near the hip so that I don't have
Maybe
a heel.
that's what we should work today. What are we working today?
Whatever you want, man.
50-50 or back take is what you're selling me over there.
We can do both.
All right, cool. Yeah, but that's just it, dude. I do, like, I want to work I with the camps, dude. Like, I reached that point, and I got a lot of jiu-jitsu to connect it to. You know what I'm saying? I'm just like, okay, yeah, we can do this. But it's like, dude, 6 hours in, even
toast.
Even 3 hours in, I'm toast. And I want to be able to have camps. Ultimately, I think the solution on some of that is like breakout sessions. How the time is appropriated and the length. Like, we're looking at having a kickboxing camp after the first of the year again at our place, and we're trying to figure out. It's like,
we should get Eric in for that.
He taught last year. It was fantastic.
Eric's really good at kickboxing.
Yes,
man.
we got him to do sweeps and trips. Probably going to get him to do something similar this year. But
you should get him off of like teep combinations.
Oh,
dude, he is so good off of teeps.
Yeah. All right.
Oh my god,
dude, I love a good front kick, man.
He tears. And like, when I used to do a little bit of Muay Thai, and like I watch the Muay Thai class now just because like it's just so interesting to me. Like, I don't want to do it because I just don't enjoy it anymore. Mm-hmm. But
I'll tell you, I don't enjoy sparring anymore. I enjoy training, kickboxing, and teaching. But dude, like, I got hit in the head a lot for 10 years.
And it's just not worth it.
It's not.
And like, I like watching Eric because like, if you watch him kick, he looks like he's putting the least effort into it ever. But like, it hits you and you're like, Jesus Christ, that hurt.
Dude, Eric has the Thai voice down.
Yeah.
He's got the sound effects. You don't say bam. You say bow.
Yeah.
Bow.
And dude, you should hear him teach jiu-jitsu when he gets nervous. He gets like a little Brazilian accent. I'm like, where'd this come from?
Okay, guys.
Yeah, he's like, okay, I hooked the foot. And you're like, Eric, you're from Tennessee, dude.
You know, so here's something fascinating that you might not know about Tennessee. I just kind of found out myself, or re-remembered it. I'm pretty sure I knew it when I was in college. But, you know, Tennessee sent more soldiers to fight for the Union than any other southern state.
Interesting.
Yeah. Second most was Arkansas.
Well, I'm from Mississippi, so
I don't know about Mississippi, dude. We were in the same military district as Mississippi, though, during Reconstruction.
You teach history or philosophy?
History.
Okay.
Yeah. I have a big background in philosophy, but I don't teach it. I may get my PhD in philosophy.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
One of my favorite college professors was he had a philosophy PhD. He taught this religious class at Rhodes. His name's Norman Whitman. I think he teaches in Connecticut now. Dude, that guy has an incredible way to make you ask questions. And like, do you know how hard it is to make people understand questions that they need to ask? That's so hard. Like, how many times have like you gone around and you teach something in a jiu-jitsu class and you look like white belts and you're like, do you have any questions? And they're like, no.
Nope.
And it's like, and then like later they're like, oh, this. Well, he's so good at making you realize the questions that you have. And I was like, dude, I wish that was a trait that I had.
Yeah, that is a skill, man. Like, I remember, and I've gotten better at this, but I remember running into a couple of guys over the years it was just like, okay, so you know what variation of this move we're going to do with everybody in the room. Mm-hmm. Like, it's like, he basically just like, no, you can't do this like Aaron. Like, Aaron, you got to do it this way. Brian, you do it the way I showed. Like, it was Rodrigo Pinheiro. You know who that guy is?
That guy's good.
Yeah, dude.
That guy's real good.
No. So he came in, one of his black belts is a cousin of one of my blue belts that quit. Stereotypical.
Interesting.
Yeah. But it was funny, too, because he got second at Worlds as a white belt. He got his blue belt, and then he quit.
That doesn't make any sense.
Well, he got this. He was law enforcement, and he just didn't like it, man.
Yeah.
And he got a job at pulling security at the nuclear plant here in town. It makes really good money.
Nuclear plants usually bring in pretty good
Yeah,
money.
for our town, that's like the big debate we've been having is about the casino.
Y'all have a casino?
Well, we're getting a casino.
Interesting.
And it's really divided the community up between anti and pro casino crowds, and then what casino we want. Because the county chose one out of nowhere, out of like 5 that submitted.
So are y'all technically underwater or something? Because can't casinos not be on land or something like that?
No, they passed some new amendment to our constitution in the state. I don't know.
Okay, because like in Mississippi, all of our casinos are in Tunica, and they're on like floating boats technically.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
like they had to be off land.
Yeah, they've got to. They got to be on the river or something like that. That was something they were discussing. I don't know why they didn't go with that or what have you, but they're talking about our location on the Arkansas River maybe being an exception because we were just like right on, like, this is the river valley.
Yeah, I went over the bayou when I was coming here.
Yeah.
That was weird. I was like, Illinois bayou? I was like, I thought I was in Arkansas.
See, that's all. Yeah, I know. That's all created. That's all man-made from when they put the dam in over here, and they flooded all this area and made Lake Dardanelle. So that let's see, did we pass Lake? Yeah, right when we went over the overpass. That's like the overflow from the big lake they created, the bayou or whatever. So yeah, I don't even know what a bayou is, dude.
I don't know. It's like
a swamp.
It's like a Cajun water. I don't know.
Yeah. Creole.
Yeah, something like that. Louisiana stuff.
Andrew Jackson, Battle of New Orleans. Yeah, dude. I think I was just thinking about it. It's pretty heavily yesterday. I just have a master's degree,
mm-hmm.
and I'm gonna keep teaching. In like 5 years, less than 5 years, we'll be essentially almost debt free, mm-hmm. other than the house and the gym, and we don't owe a whole lot on our house. We're about to owe a lot on this new gym. No, it's not a lot for what we're getting though.
I mean, it pays for itself, right?
Exactly, yeah. And with what we're doing, we're doubling our square footage. Like that yoga class that we were giving them the time to do, like they'll have a room with a door. We wouldn't even have to leave. You know what I'm saying? We could have just done jiu-jitsu at that time. So, but just those little inconveniences don't seem like a lot, but it's just like, dude, it allows us to do more. That's why I'm trying to get the studio at the gym. It's just like, yeah, this is where I crank out audio and video productions. I do the Life Unraveled podcast, but this one I'll call it Jiu-Jitsu Unraveled. That way people know on the front end.
You know what it is.
They're like, this isn't a life unravel. All these dudes are talking about is jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, well,
cool.
That happens on the regular podcast.
I mean, like, I'm into a lot of weird stuff. Like,
yeah, we were talking about some conspiracies and stuff before we came here.
I like conspiracies. I like drugs. Like, I used to do a lot of drugs. I don't anymore. I don't do anything. I think all of that stuff's really interesting, and I think people that are really into it are really interesting, because like
we call those people wooks. You ever heard of a wook?
Yeah. So yeah, man, like I used to do a lot, and then now.
Do you think you did any of it too early, like before your brain was fully developed?
Dude, my first drug, I was 14, and it was acid.
Holy shit, dude.
So, but it was on accident. So, I was at a party in high school, and I was like wasted. And my mom texted me and was like, "Hey, you got to come home." And I was like, "All right, cool, whatever." And so my friend came to pick me up, and as I was leaving, this guy was like, "Hey, here's some gum, man. You smell like alcohol." Put the gum in my mouth, start tripping balls, man. It was scary. I was like 14 years old, seeing shit, and I was like, "What is going on?"
Man,
it was not cool.
Yeah,
it was really not cool.
Did the guy cop to it later or what?
I never saw that guy again.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Did you see just this last week or whatever? It's a couple weeks ago. Ari Shaffir drugged Bert Kreischer on Bert's podcast at Bert's house while his kids were home with Molly.
Yeah, it's probably not the best. It was probably hilarious, but like
they haven't released a podcast yet. But
Bert's a funny dude.
Bert was pissed about it though.
Yeah.
And but then also Bert said that he doesn't want to drink anymore.
Yeah.
That's like the weird thing about like reported about Molly is that it makes you come to some real
realization.
Yes, and a lot of times people, the way they talk about them seem to be for the best, you know.
I mean, so I drink like once every like 6 months. I drink like twice a year, and I don't even get like.
Yeah,
I don't
that's
even
about
drink
the
a
last
lot.
time I had a beer, man, and I didn't drink for like 5 years, and then I started drinking like socially and casually again, and then like I just got to a point like within the last year and a half or so. And I tell you what, a lot of it too is just seeing like people act like
idiots.
Yeah.
And it's like, I know that I'm like that whenever I'm drunk. And like, I have a really bad addictive personality. And I think that's why I can stand doing so much jiu-jitsu. Because like, it just never gets old to me. But like, my father was a raging alcoholic. And so I'm like scared for that to happen. So I don't like drinking. But like when I went my freshman year in college, I was like a raging alcoholic. And then I was like, oh man, this sucks. And so I substituted drinking for smoking a lot of weed. And then I was like, well, now I'm just a pothead. And I was like, well, it's slightly better, but it still sucks. And so I stopped that, and now I don't do a whole lot.
Yeah.
Because I mean, like, I talk about all the time, I have really debilitating anxiety, and it's kind of regulated by like me training and stuff like that. But I used to smoke to help me out. But I'm not one of those kind of people that can like just smoke a little bit. Like, I'm either like 0 or 100. And so I get to the point where I'm just like high all day, every day, and I'm just miserable. Like, I'm not one of those people that like, oh, I can smoke like once every 4 days socially. Like, I can't do that. I'm just like, once I'm in, I'm like in.
Yeah, I wonder if people really do smoke socially like that, or just pay lip service to the fact that they don't. They do, and they really are just smoking weed all day, every day. You know what I'm saying? I just smoke whenever it's out, man. Like, whenever somebody's got it, it's like at home, they've got a quarter pound.
Yeah. I smoke when it's convenient, and then there's things like dab pens that make it convenient all the time.
Yeah. Well, have you heard anything about, or have any opinion about like the vaping that's going on?
Yeah,
I mean, market industry.
So I used to smoke a lot of cartridges, and I could 100% tell a major difference in my like breathing in my lungs, like absolutely. And like, we live in Memphis, or like I live in Memphis. There's nothing that's going to be extremely regulated going in there. Yeah. So like I knew what I was doing and stuff like that, but I mean, like, if you want to do it. Like, but there's definitely safer ways to do it, but there's definitely cheaper ways to do it. It's just whichever one you want to do. You just got to pick your thing.
See, I think people thought for a while that they were going to be vaporizing the plant matter probably is the healthiest way to go.
Yeah. Like, do you know what the PAX is? PAX is an herb vaporizer. I used to have one.
Oh, yeah.
Like, literally, it's like a little oven. You just grind it up, pack it in there, and put the lid over it, and it vaporizes the herb. And like, that thing is like the cleanest ever. Like, I never coughed. Like, the only thing about it was just hot. But like, I never coughed. I never had any like lung hurting. Like, I was never like, God, this sucks. I was just like, man, this is really just cool.
Yeah.
So like, I think, yeah, I agree with you. Like, that is like the thing to do.
Yeah, it's wild. I wonder too. I've been curious about if all the articles we're seeing and all the buzz going on about it's not being put in place as like a form of propaganda by big tobacco.
Yeah.
Or some other industry.
Well, I mean, I can understand that, because like there's a lot of history of like big tobacco doing really shady things.
Yeah.
And I mean, a lot of people get pissed off when you mess with their money. So
True.
I mean, it would make sense if there was something going on, but I think it's stupid because so many people are like overreacting to so many things, like vaping nicotine and stuff like that. They're like, we got to ban that. And it's like, no, like, the reason that this is happening is counterfeit cartridges are being made incorrectly, and people are like cutting it with things so that they can make more money. And those things that they're cutting it with are just bad for you. Like, if you go to like dispensaries, everything there is like regulated, tested intensely. Like, everything has to be perfect. And like, you don't get that with like the black market ones. And like, people don't understand that. They're just like, oh my God, vaping, everything sucks.
Well, it's here we are again on the states' rights thing, because like, our community was just recently like, there's a guy at the gym that manages the dispensary here in town that's about to open up. And our city,
y'all have medical here.
Yeah, our city government was trying to keep it out like crazy, and their number one argument, other than their Bible verses and stuff like that, was the federal government has decided it's illegal, and we will follow what they say.
Yeah, well, the federal government have said a lot of things are illegal that states haven't cared about in all of history.
Yeah, I know, and it's funny that they've been even conveniently like, Oh yeah, we know this. The state constitution said Pope County shall be issued a casino license, but we don't like what the state says on that.
I
So.
mean, it's kind of like New Testament, Old Testament.
It
We don't
is.
like the Old Testament, so
I know it was somebody said something about the Bible earlier, and I was like, "You mean like the
Which one you
Hebrews,
talk about?
like the Israelites, like
Yeah.
Judaism?" Because I was like, it's funny. I teach Civ 1, so like I've been dude. We got like 5 weeks left. I just started Rome. Like we haven't Jesus is not even alive yet. Yeah, like we just got the Bible like 4 weeks ago. So actually, we get the Bible in like on my second test, but. At that point, it goes from that point all the way forward, and then it's like, man, let's just smash these two books together.
yeah. I mean, like I don't know. I'm a really big believer in the separation of like religion and government and stuff like that.
Me too, man.
I'm a really big believer in that because I mean, like, what has almost every war in history been fought over? Either A, money, or B, religion. And so it's like, I don't know, like. I have to write a paper right now in one of my classes on religious hypocrites. And so like that's probably the main thing I'm going to talk about is like there's so many like quote unquote peaceful religions, but then it's just like all these people like the Crusades were freaking terrible, right? And Christians are like, we're loving people. No, you just killed thousands of people.
What do you think about the this is something that's really been bothering me, dude, because like I know a bunch of like homophobic people in my life, and like
Yeah.
I also have people in my life that were like have been my mentors that are
Like openly homophobic.
or that, but that are gay.
Yeah.
And it's just like I can't not like that made me empathetic to gay people.
Yeah.
Because honestly, I was raised to not like gay people. It's like my household or whatever, and church and everything. It's like, but the whole pray the gay away thing.
Yeah, I don't know. So the way I look at life is like, if somebody's doing something and it's not bothering my life, I really don't care. Like, if you're going to be gay and you're going to date dudes, I don't care. Like, cool. Like, as long as you're not robbing me, trying to kill me, trying to do something stupid to me or my family, like, I don't care what you do, man. Like, you can go be gay. I don't care. And like,
I agree.
I just don't get it. Like, I don't know why. And people are like, oh, well, my religion says this. It's like, yeah, well, your religion also says don't pass judgment. So which one are you prioritizing one thing over the other? And like, I hate that argument because it's like my mom is extremely religious and she just loves everyone. And she's like, I don't care what you are. She's like, I was told to love everyone unless you like murder people or like assault people. She's like, I'm told to love everyone, so I love everyone. She's like, it doesn't matter to me. She's like, if you're going to be gay, cool. As long as you're a good person, I don't care what you do. Mm-hmm. It's like the way that I look at people like doing any kind of recreational drug. Like, if you can manage it and you can do whatever you want to do and not bother me, I don't care what you do. It's anything in life.
Yeah, that's like I've been thinking about that a lot too recently. Like, just like addiction in general. Right? Like, how aware do you think someone is that they are or are not addicted to something?
I don't know. Because, like, I've been through a lot of addictions in my life, and I've been very aware of them while I was doing them.
Like, aware, like, oh, I want to quit, but
Yeah.
I can't. But, like, what's weird to me is, like, the, like, what got you there.
Yeah.
It's never, this is what I've been thinking about. It's never like, oh, yes, I knew that this would happen.
It's just, it just happens.
Yes, anytime I've been introduced to something that like I kind of went down a rabbit hole, yeah, and I never saw it coming, and then you like this is also you get people that like overdose and stuff,
Yeah.
and it's like, dude, I mean, yeah, some people commit suicide by overdosing on drugs, but more times than not.
I don't think anybody ever intentionally.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like,
Nobody ever intentionally. Nobody wants to be like, oh, I'm going to take so much that I die right now. And I mean, like, I'm sure there are people, but I don't think they're like, when people overdose, I think they're just wanting to get high. I don't think people are like, I'm wanting to kill myself with drugs.
One, I think that people will take a certain amount of whatever, it's pharmaceutical, an opiate or whatever, and then they don't take it for a while because they do have some progress. They stop using it, and then they go back to that same amount, it just wrecks them.
Yeah.
It's that's crazy, man. Then it's like withdrawal effects. Like, I never even knew that withdrawal from like was a thing, really, like from pills and stuff.
Yeah, so I was on antidepressants for like 9 years because I had a really, really horrible childhood. My father was like a horrible person. And so one day when I was like 14, 16, something like that, 14 to 16, I don't know, I like just cold turkey took myself off of them. And I had a year-long withdrawal period, and it was the worst time of my life. It was
A year
awful.
long, dude.
It never, like every day was the hardest day of my life. It was horrible.
And you still have anxiety today?
Yeah.
Is
Like,
it better? Like what do you think?
it's regulated. So like,
Just that, like from your childhood, just like you think that's like direct correlation, like.
I mean, like I think I've made a lot of progress towards like coming to peace with it, because like I went through really horrible things, and like it's not like I don't want it to be one of those like pity things, because like when people tell me like, oh, I'm so sorry I went through that, it's like, no, like it's cool, like
It's not a pity thing, but it's like, dude, like look at what you're doing now.
yeah. And so like I grew up with my father telling me I'd never do anything, because my father was a pro baseball player.
Really? Wow.
So
Interesting.
he was a pro baseball player, and he was also in the Navy, and like did all kinds of really cool stuff. And he was like, you'll never be anything like me. Like I was told that like every day of my life. And so I went through like a lot of like physical, emotional, and sexual abuse like every single day. And I think a lot of the way that I think now is definitely influenced by that, because like I think I'm very compassionate when it comes to things like that, and like I have like zero tolerance for anything like domestic violence. I have zero tolerance towards domestic violence. I have no tolerance towards violence towards children. I don't have any, like none of that.
Well, and like we shouldn't as a society. It's
Yeah,
like
but
Corey and I argue, and we could both beat the fuck out of each other.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But it's like, honestly, like, and I mean, dude, we've been in heated arguments before.
Yeah.
And it's like, I've never really ever.
Never wanted to hurt you.
No, never wanted to hurt her. Never thought about like I'm about to slap her. Like nothing like that. Like
Yeah.
I could not imagine doing it. Not even losing my temper. That also, I would say that was one of the reasons I quit drinking, is because of correlations and like
Domestic violence and alcohol.
Yes,
There's a huge
knowing that,
correlation.
but then also just being like losing my temper a time or two when I had been drinking.
Yeah.
And maybe I rightfully so lost my temper in one of these situations, but then I was like,
Is it really rightfully? And it wasn't worth it.
Yeah, and then I was all like after that, because I was pretty much like, I want to say I was drunk, but I'd had like 3 beers and a couple shots of tequila in like a super short amount of time, and then I got pissed.
Yeah.
And then I was just like, you know, like I was like that way for like 2 hours.
Yeah.
And I was just like, dude,
And it seems like it never ends.
I don't want to feel that way.
Yeah, it sucks.
I'm trying to undo that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and like I have a lot of like anger and stuff towards that, and like I think I'm okay right now. Like I don't think I have a whole lot of problems. I don't think I have like, I think I'm really good right now, but I also know that like if I stop doing jiu-jitsu, I am horrible.
Well, you found your thing. You found something that like
Yeah, it kind of evens me out.
balances and evens you out. Like martial arts for jiu-jitsu or whatever. Like I would say martial arts, because like
just
I'm
all-
over
it's all
here
encompassing.
studying sword fighting with this dude. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Like
You do it all.
and that's been the pursuit of that knowledge has been the ultimate equalizer for me, and to seeing what frontier I can take it to, or what degree I can take it to. Like I was just talking to Corey today. I'm like, I'm an audiophile. Like I'll look around. Like
Yeah.
there's a room with 13 guitars in it over there. Like I'm gonna get this amp here before long that you don't know about. And like I was like,
Surprise.
got all this stuff. Like I was like, that's what I'm into. And I was like, the fact that I can like do a podcast about jiu-jitsu and then put it on the internet, like that just like turns me on. Like
cool.
that's, you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
we sit down, talk about jiu-jitsu for an hour, then go do it, and then like make a video on down the road of something you learned doing jiu-jitsu. It's just cool. Like I like doing it.
It is cool.
It's so that's one thing that like, oh man, I'm pretty settled in. I don't know. Once we get this new gym transition, we're supposed to close November 22nd. So
We're close.
It is. We got to do some light remodeling, and we'll move in over the holidays.
Easy transition for students.
Yeah, it will be. So January 2020, we should start in the new
Brand
location.
new.
Yeah, it's the building is like 15 years old. That we're
Yeah,
moving
but it's like
yeah,
brand new.
Well, and it was a fitness center. It was
So
built,
it's set up for what you need.
Dude, it is.
Yeah.
It's got the big open room where they had like all the cardio equipment and stuff, and then it's got a back room with these French doors where they had the free weights.
Yeah.
And we're putting fitness kickboxing back there.
That'd be cool.
So like one gigantic mat with the one bag rack up front, and then we'll put 22 bags and fitness kickboxing in the back. Maybe a few more, but we're gonna have 2 fitness kickboxings a night. So I think that our overflow will be handled for the foreseeable future, because we have 17 bags hanging right now, and there's plenty of nights where we don't have enough. Right, it's like 22 people there.
I mean,
25.
I don't know if I'm supposed to say this, but it's not really a secret if you go to the gym. But like Eric's doing a lot of remodeling right now.
I haven't seen what all he's doing. Is he adding multiple mat spaces?
No. So you know where the mats are, like right when you walk in the door?
Yeah.
So he's going to move those into the back corner where all the CrossFit stuff is.
Yeah.
And he's going to put the CrossFit stuff in front of the jiu-jitsu, in front of that like window through those doors. And then he's putting fitness kickboxing right in front of the doors.
Ah.
Yeah. Because I think he's going to go to like marketing fitness kickboxing again. Because like obviously that's where like money is and stuff like that.
Dude, that and like our kids program.
Yeah.
It just, and like the 8 to 12 year olds. That's like today I had, we had that instructor out sick. So I'm helping with one of Cora's classes, and George, one of my purple belts, is teaching the teen jiu-jitsu. But we have so many 8 to 12 year olds, and they come, we have 6 different sections of them. Like there's Monday, Wednesday section that meets, there's a Tuesday, Thursday section that meets, and there's another Tuesday, Thursday section that meets. Then we're going to open up a white belt only class when we move to the new spot.
Eric's trying to do that too. He's trying to do like an intro to jiu-jitsu class. Because like right now we have, so like Monday, Wednesday is gi at 7:30, Tuesday, Thursday is no gi at 7:30, Friday is competition class at 6, Saturday there's open mat. But I teach Monday, Wednesday, Friday an 11:30 a.m. class. Like,
No gi?
Yeah. Right now it's all no gi because like a lot of us are getting ready for no gi worlds. But usually Monday and Friday are gi, and Wednesday is no gi.
Is that in New York? Where's that at? New York City? No gi Worlds?
Oh, it's in Anaheim.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it in Anaheim every year?
I'm not entirely sure.
Okay.
I don't keep up with
I thought it was in New York last year. I don't know.
Pans was.
Okay. Yeah.
Pans is usually in New York.
See, so I've done no-gi pans.
Yeah.
No-gi pans. That's what I'm thinking. Yeah. Because I did pans at the Pyramid when I was a purple belt.
Cool.
So in the gi. I only did IBJJF no-gi one time.
Yeah.
And they were bitching at me about my shorts not being regulation. I was like, dude, you gonna let me go or what?
Like it's just shorts.
I'm sorry. Okay. I
bet if I was Brazilian, you wouldn't say this.
Yeah, I mean, just all of that, dude. All of that.
Yeah.
It's like you say you won't talk to people, but you're talking to Angelica Galvao right there.
Yeah.
Dude. In Portuguese, might have
Right before
Mr.
her
Referee.
match.
Yeah. So yeah, the IBJJF and B. Some people are big about it though, man. Some people
Eric loves it, man.
Want that recognition as an IBJJF black belt, and like I don't think I will ever register with the IBJJF as a black belt.
I mean, we got
fuck.
Danny, so
yeah. I mean, I
don't see the importance of it.
Well, and like the where they piss me off is like let's just say Hickson Gracie. They're like, no, we're not going to recognize you. Like if Hickson applied, they wouldn't recognize him at his rank. Think about that. They would recognize him at probably like a 4th degree or something.
Yeah.
And it's just like, what?
That guy's been doing jiu-jitsu longer than this organization's been alive.
Yeah, but that's stuff like that, and like they won't let him coach because he's not a registered black belt.
Yeah, it's so weird.
Yeah,
it's so like I don't know. It's like you can just look at the organization and tell it's for profit, like so much for profit, and there's so much bias too. Like Keenan Cornelius talked about it with the last ADCC, and he was just like, Brazilians are pissed off at the reffing in this because the refs there are from Finland and consistently call the exact same calls in every match. He was like, we're in IBJJF, like there's obvious favoritism, like obvious. Like have you ever seen them? I don't know who it was Keenan Cornelius versus some like random Brazilian guy, and the random Brazilian guy gets an advantage for like this like wrist lock that he like dives on in the last 3 seconds, and it's like, how did you get an advantage for that? You were just squeezing his hand, and he ended up winning for that. And like Keenan Cornelius walks over to the B in the IBJJF and was like shaking his finger at it. And so he was like, I guess if my last name was Cornelio, I would have won that.
That's funny.
Yeah.
What do you think about officiating in general in the sport?
I don't know. I mean, I talked to Justin Rader a lot about like rules the other night, and
he has a secret system apparently.
I don't know. He like hates everything to do with jiu-jitsu. It's so weird.
I do too, man. Honestly, that's another reason I'm just like, you people can't get your shit straight. There's the biases. And then like the story with AGF is that they're always changing their interpretation or changing the rules. Like I can't keep up with you guys.
I think it's a good organization. And I think, is his name Brandon Quick? Yeah. I think Brandon Quick is doing really well with it. And I think he has a lot of like really good things. Cause like I did AGF Nationals and like, it was ran really well. Like I like their timing. Like their timing's always correct.
They do better. They do better than anybody else.
Yeah, dude, their organization is incredible. I think they just have some like foundational things that like they just need to get in order, and then whenever they have everything just like set in stone, they'll do really well.
Yeah. It does. I mean, they started as grassroots companies, and they've been around for less than 10 years, if I'm not mistaken. It's going to take them time. I went to the first AGF ever in Springfield, Missouri, if I'm not mistaken on that.
That's nuts.
So,
and there's like Naga, but like nobody cares about Naga.
Yeah, I know, dude.
Sorry, Naga.
But hey, well, I would say Naga contributes to some dank memes.
They do.
Like you, like so Jason Ryan. Did you hang out with that guy?
Yeah,
he's such a cute.
He's funny, man.
Yeah, he went to ADCC.
I saw that.
I'm trying to get him to come on the podcast so we can just have a discussion
about ADCC.
Yeah, I'm trying to get him and Josh Bishop to come on here pretty soon.
Josh is so nice, man.
Yeah. See, Josh just came out and trained with me one time. Brought Jason Ryan with him. And I got both of them. I was like, dude, you motherfuckers are filming a jiu-jitsu thing for my channel. Like, pick a technique. But man, we rolled and then we went out, had lunch. Man, it's kind of like this, dude. Just chill all day. Sit down and talk about some jiu-jitsu, do a little training.
I like things like this. I get stressed out whenever like if I go to teach like privates or a seminar or something and people are like, we have to do this, we have all this stuff to do, and I'm like, oh my god, dude, like I'm really laid back. Like,
dude, if you would have said you didn't want to do a podcast, I'd be like, all right, bro, let's go grab a coffee till we're done doing yoga. Because I that's what I was down to do. But because man, some people get weird about the podcasting thing. Like, I would say maybe probably 25% of people I ask are weirded out by it. They're like, you want me to sit down and talk to you?
Yeah. And I mean, like I'm really open. Like, if you couldn't have told by this conversation, like I have no secrets, man.
Dude,
like,
well, and I figured, honestly, when I hit you up just about training, I figured if you had time, you would do it just because I've only been around a couple times. But I was like, this dude's training with Nathan Musser up at LDMA. I was like, I'm about to sequester some of that time.
Yeah, so I hit up them on the way up to conference, and then while I was in conference, I trained with like Jason and Josh. And then now I'm on the way back. I'm hitting up you. And then I think I have a seminar in like 2 weeks.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Man.
Where are you teaching at seminar at?
I'm trying to get, so I was told that there's a lot of people that want the seminar. It's at a MMA gym down in Olive Branch, and they're super cool. Like, the guy was like, yeah, we got like 12 people. We just got to organize it with our coach and should be good. And I was like, all right, cool.
Cool.
I'm down for that.
Dude, it's so good. I've only taught a few seminars myself, but it's nice. And I would say, man, like, you doing what you're doing, like you know, I James wasn't a black belt when I had him come in.
No.
You know what? George was a blue belt. I was like, dude, not only do I want you to come in, like, you're doing a private lesson with me. Like, how much does it cost? And I just, like, I feel like another dogmatic thing in jiu-jitsu, a lot of people won't do that. Like, I'm like, no, this dude's good.
It's really weird.
He knows stuff I don't. Like, yeah, I could tell him some stuff, whatever, but like, he ain't asking me for a private.
Like, when I first started learning from Josh LeDuc down in Florida, he was a brown belt. And like, I went and trained with him, and he had a purple belt down there named Werther Marcialis. And like, I follow that dude on Instagram. He's a great dude. He has incredible jiu-jitsu. And like, dude, that guy's he's a purple belt, and he'll wreck almost any black belt you know. That guy is a freaking animal.
Yeah. Dude, that's like, Dring said this quote, and I said it yesterday to somebody, but like, the whole not all belts are created equal thing is a real thing.
Yeah.
And if you subscribe to that and not just like as an excuse.
Yeah.
But like, oh no, man, I could learn something from that purple belt. I could learn something from that blue belt. And it's like, a lot of black belts don't say things like that.
Yeah. And it's weird because like, I've done a lot of super fights and stuff like that, and I've trained with a lot of black belts and stuff like that. And like, it doesn't matter who I think I'm going against. I'm going to think that I'm going to beat them. And then, like, belt doesn't mean a whole lot to me. I think like if you're a black belt, cool, man. You've been doing this for a long time. You probably know a ton, but that doesn't mean your application is the same.
Doesn't mean the applications. I would say the biggest thing I've noticed training people over the years is like, you might say something different today, like that was mentioned with Robert Drysdale. He just said it differently,
and it works for some people and it doesn't work for others.
Yeah, and it'll be a lot of times it's funny. Like we spotted this over the years, depending on what it was. Mm-hmm. But like, it'd be something that Dring or Caleb or something said to me. Somebody said it to me like 10 times, and then like it brings somebody in from the outside, and they said the same topic, said it a little different. And I was like, guys, this is crazy, out, man. Like, and they're like, we told you that.
Yeah.
And
so
remember when we said it this way?
I watch a lot of Craig Jones and
Gregory.
Yeah, old Gregory, man. That guy is good.
He is.
But like his jiu-jitsu game works really well for me. Like everything that he does makes a lot of sense to me. And his coach, Lachlan Giles, just blew up, right, from the ADCC.
I've been seeing his name everywhere.
Yeah, so like I could show you DMs from Instagram. I found that guy when he had like 3,600 followers on Instagram, and he was just posting like 1 minute things on his Instagram. And I've DM'd him almost every single day asking him questions, and he answers them. And that's what's helped me so much. It's like I find so many like I don't want to say like B tier dudes, but like lesser known dudes that are extremely good, and just ask them questions. And a lot of the time, like that's how I found the Joshua Duke dude. He like I saw one video of his and I was like, wow, this guy's really good. And I just started DMing him, asking him questions. And then like my family vacations down in Florida, and so while I was down there one time, I went over there and I got a private from him, and it changed it.
Are you seeing most of his stuff on Instagram?
Kind of.
Like we were talking about this maybe before the podcast, but so my college students think I'm like a crusty old man.
Yeah, because you're Facebook.
Because I Facebook, dude, and like we're what 10 years apart in age. But how would you like? How do you notice jiu-jitsu guys interfacing? Because like, dude, like YouTube, I'm in that space. We got that down. It's up and rolling.
It's doing it.
I share like we got to where like we don't post everything we do the YouTube video, but I separately make it not a shared post, but like a separate post on Facebook now.
Yeah.
But like we are wanting to integrate more with the Instagram audience. We just haven't. Like we have a bunch of posts, we have a bunch of followers. We just don't consistently keep up with them. Because honestly, we don't have a strategy.
I think that's the problem. So like Joseph Tran, that dude is great at Instagram.
How old is Joseph?
28, 29.
Oh, wow. He's too old to be good at Instagram.
Dude, he's so good at it. So one day after a UFC fight, he like shared a video of like somebody getting knocked out, and UFC was like yoink and like took his Instagram account. He had to make a brand new one.
Holy shit.
And that was like, what is this, October? It's probably like 8 months ago. And in 8 months, he's back to like 1,500 followers. Wow. And like he just posts stuff every day. He posts stories, he posts pictures, and like he uses a bunch of hashtags to reach out to a bunch of people, because a lot of people follow certain hashtags, and they'll find people like that.
I should follow. That's a big part of this digital marketing in general is I copy other people's shit that works. I just haven't found some good Instagram people that are within my network that I'm like, yeah, I should copy their stuff.
Yeah.
It's like, because sometimes you can find, like I had a breakthrough a while back. Dude, people proclaim to be digital marketing experts, but like anybody could be one. Social media wasn't a thing until I was like getting out of high school. Like there was MySpace before that, but like Facebook come around when I was like getting out of high school.
Yeah. You were the MySpace AOL people?
Yeah. Zanga was another one that was real popular. AOL Messenger, dude.
AIM.
Yeah, I had Napster, bro. I downloaded illegal Metallica on
one of
Napster.
Those LimeWire kids.
I had a LimeWire, dude. Dude, I'll tell you another good one for the multimedia sharing was called Kazaa. 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 It was a good one. I can't. What else did? Peer-to-peer sharing, man. Yeah, those are the days.
Now everything's just pirated.
Yeah. I never got into torrents or anything. Did you?
No. So funny thing is, like, I used to do a lot of like really crazy computer stuff, and but no, torrenting was never my thing, because like there's ways that you can download without torrents, and that avoids a lot of like middlemaning and possible like information release.
Yeah.
So like I always got into that.
Man, being on campus, there's always some scam like going around with the network. They're like, don't open this, don't talk to these people.
You get an email and it's like, hey, I need your login because you messed up something with the IT department. And it's like not actually the IT department.
Well, dude, like the big thing that like has been going around is people being like, hey, we have part of your password. We saw you jacking off in the camera. Like, we're going to share a video of you doing that. And it's just like, what? Like, I didn't
how did this happen?
I didn't do any of this. I don't even have a camera in this office. Like, but, or I do, but it's not hooked up to it's not like a webcam, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, it's a GoPro. But it's just like, for some people, it's like,
it's a very real,
this is a portion
scary
of your password. And like, I've seen people like take to Facebook and not know that it was a scam and be like, somebody got my wife and I's information. They're blackmailing me. Oh my God.
Dude, my favorite thing in the world is old people on the internet. Because they're like, it's like obviously the least credible article ever.
Oh man.
And like old people were like, did you know that Bill Clinton's actually black? And you're like, what? And it's like some crazy like Babylon Bee article.
Dude, I told Corey yesterday, I was like, my dad shared something. I was like, he shouldn't be allowed to share memes on the internet.
Yeah.
Like he shouldn't. And it's just funny, man.
It's like memes on the internet should have an age limit like driving. Like old people driving is scary.
Yeah.
Old people sharing articles on social media is scary.
Well, dude, that's where you see too the older generation, like my parents' generation, like say like without making too much of generalization, like people 50 plus.
Yeah.
You get a lot of that homophobia, xenophobia, like people just like, yeah, you were raised in a time where civil rights was not something we cared about unless it was universal male suffrage and, you know, women can vote now too. So, but,
it's nuts, man.
Yeah. Well, dude, let's wrap it up, man. Head on over to the gym and,
let's do it.
Just, get us a little rolling in. Brandon Motley just texted me and Cora. So, well, dude, appreciate you taking the time, and we'll go do some 50-50 and back takes, man.
Let's
Get
do
you
it.
on the road to Memphis. All right, dude, signing off.
See you guys.